If you avoid crowds, hate small talk, and feel drained after social events, this video will explain why there's nothing wrong with you and why you're actually rare.
It's not that you dislike people. You dislike pretending. You dislike empty small talk. You dislike interactions that feel like chewing cardboard. In psychology, this is often referred to as social masking fatigue. It helps explain why you'd rather have one deep 2 a.m. conversation than 10 shallow parties. Your brain craves substance, not noise. And here's an interesting insight. Some psychological research, including work associated with Oxford University, suggests that people who avoid crowds often score higher in emotional intelligence than those who constantly seek them out. In other words, this isn't necessarily social awkwardness. It can be social selectivity. You don't need 100 acquaintances. You need a few real connections. That's not antisocial. That's intentional. Solitude isn't loneliness for you. It's honesty. It's the space where you can be fully yourself without filtering, performing, or shrinking to fit someone else's comfort. Now here's number 3. Your brain may process stimulation differently. Studies in neuroscience suggest that introverts and people who dislike crowds can respond to dopamine differently than extroverts. Dopamine is a reward-related chemical. For extroverts, social environments often trigger a stronger dopamine response, which can feel energizing and motivating. For many people like you, the brain releases less dopamine in highly social situations. Instead of feeling rewarded, you may feel overstimulated. It's as if your brain is signaling, too much input, time to step back. After being in a crowd, you don't feel energized. You feel mentally drained. Research also suggests that your brain may rely more on acetylcholine, a chemical linked to focus, reflection, and deep thinking. While extroverts often feel most engaged in stimulating environments, you may need quiet and solitude to access your best thinking. It's not that you're antisocial, you simply operate differently. You're wired to dig deep, not get distracted. Some neuroscience research, including studies from Harvard, has linked introversion with differences in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain involved in complex thinking, planning, and decision-making. So when you're sitting alone, doing nothing, your brain may actually be actively processing and integrating information. You're not wasting time. You're processing life on a level many people rarely experience. That's not isolation. That's incubation. That's why you often feel most alive in quiet moments. Late-night drives with soft music. Empty coffee shops at 6 a.m. Walking through a forest where the only sound is your own breathing. Those moments aren't dull. They're when your mind finally gets space to reset and recharge. Here's number 2. You're highly emotionally sensitive, and that's a strength, not a weakness. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately sensed that something felt off, even though everyone was smiling? You pick up on tension, unspoken conflict, and emotional undercurrents. People who dislike crowds often show higher levels of emotional sensitivity or empathy. Your brain naturally mirrors the emotional signals around you. In a crowded space, you're not just managing your own emotions. You may be absorbing everyone else's stress, excitement, frustration, and sadness at once. It can feel overwhelming, which explains why you need space afterward. The upside is significant. This sensitivity often makes you one of the most emotionally aware people in the room. You notice what goes unsaid. You sense emotional shifts quickly, and you connect with others on a deeper level. That ability is rare and valuable. And number 1, you're not avoiding life. You're protecting your peace. Modern culture often glorifies being busy, loud, and constantly surrounded by people.
Skip a party or a big gathering, and you might be labeled boring or antisocial. But choosing calm over constant stimulation is a valid and healthy choice. You understand something many people spend years learning. Silence isn't empty. It's full of clarity, creativity, and self-awareness. Your solitude isn't loneliness. It's connection with yourself. It's where you think most clearly, feel most deeply, and live most authentically. You're not necessarily missing out. You're choosing an environment that better matches how your mind works. So the next time someone asks why you're quiet, or why you don't go out more, just smile. They may not realize that you experience the world in a different way. You notice more. You reflect more. In a world that rarely slows down, your quiet is simply a different way of engaging with life. You're not broken. You're built differently. And the world benefits from people who think, feel, and process things deeply. So tell me, are you someone who avoids crowds, or do you thrive in chaos? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your experience. If this resonated with you, subscribe. More videos are coming.